Hello everybody, welcome to the next video for our chemistry class. Today we're going to be talking about the basics of the periodic table. So we've spent some time talking about different classifications, states of matter, properties. The way that we're going to round out this first unit is by talking about the periodic table, looking at individual elements that exist in nature, and learning a bit about those. So we are getting close to the end of the first unit, which means that we'll have some sort of assessment coming up. I'll be talking about that relatively soon, but without any further ado, let's get into it. So first thing that we should ask is what is the periodic table? So periodic table is just a complete list of all the known elements in the universe. That's it. It's just a big table that has all of the different pure elements that exist listed on it, along with some information about them. As of 2014, scientists had essentially completed the final row of the table with their discovery of the largest element, number 18, oganesson. Okay, and you can see that here. Now it depends on which periodic table you look at. Some of them are going to have this symbol here, OG. Some of them may not, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. It is likely that even larger elements could and probably do exist, but none larger than oganesson here has been synthesized or witnessed on Earth. So, in the folder that I gave you at the start of the year that had like the welcome letter for your parents and a copy of my syllabus, I also gave you a hard copy of a periodic table that we're going to use in my class. If you don't have that, if you weren't able to pick up your materials, or if you have lost that periodic table, it is no big deal. You can find a link to it here as well as in Canvas. Okay, so if you're ever working on something for my class and you need a periodic table, you can just go in Canvas. Up at the top, you'll see a link to the periodic table, and you can use that. It's the exact same one that I provided as a hard copy. Now what you may notice is that that periodic table is incomplete. Okay, so if I click here and open it up, here's what I'm talking about. Down here, there's a bunch of blank space, right? This right here is where that biggest element should be. The reason that this periodic table is incomplete is because this is from 1995. It's kind of hard to see that. If you have the hard copy in front of you, you can read that right there. This is a bit of an older version of the periodic table, but that's completely fine. Okay, so it's from 1995, so some of the most recent discoveries aren't on it, but I really like the way that it's laid out and the way that it looks, so that's the one that I've used for, since I've been a teacher. Okay, a couple of things that we need to talk about. First of all, rows and columns. Okay, so you all probably know what these are. In case you don't, here's a little graphic that can remind you. Okay, rows go side to side. Columns are things that go up and down. In any table, there are rows and columns. Okay, rows on the periodic table have sort of a special name. They're called periods. Okay, that's why it's called the periodic table. All right, so when I refer to rows on the periodic table, I may call them periods instead. Okay, so just think of these as synonyms. Okay, they mean the same thing, row and period. And then the same thing for these two terms here. Columns on the periodic table are called groups. Okay, and they're also sometimes called families, but I'm usually going to call them columns or groups. Okay. Each entry or each box on the periodic table has 4 pieces of information in it. Okay, the top number is probably the most important thing. That is the atomic number for that element. Okay, this is like what defines the element. Okay, its number. No two elements have the same number. The other pieces of information are also important, but like I said, the atomic number is probably most important. We have the symbol here. This is 1 or 2 letters. If it's 1 letter, it's going to be a capital letter. If it's 2 letters, then it's going to be a capital and then a lowercase. okay? So it's never going to be two uppercase letters next to each other. If you see two uppercase letters next to each other, that means that it's two different elements, right? Like if it was HC, that'd be hydrogen and carbon, okay? But if it's uppercase, lowercase, that means it's just one element. Okay, they also give us the element name and then the atomic weight or the atomic mass. We'll use this a little bit more down the line. Okay, and then the last thing I want to talk about here for the notes today is the special groups or special families that exist on the periodic table. These elements that are in these different shaded or colored boxes here have similar properties to each other and are sometimes referred to as the whole group rather than as individuals. So I'll just go through these quickly. This over here in the red, this would be group 1, by the way, because this is the first column. These elements are referred to as the alkali metals. The exception to that is the very first element there on top, which is hydrogen. Okay, so hydrogen does not go into this category, but the rest of them do. Lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, calcium, or cesium, and francium. Sorry. So those 6. All right, the next group, or group 2, these are called the alkaline earth metals. Okay, that's beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, and radium. Then we get to a big section. Okay, this is like the big middle section of the periodic table. All of these elements here are referred to as the transition metals. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time working with these guys because they tend to break all the rules. And then we have 2 other important categories over here on the side. The halogens, this is group 17, by the way. Okay, so once again, if you count the columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way over here, this is a group 17. The halogens are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine, and you can see this periodic table doesn't quite have that last one there. No problem. And then the noble gases, this is group 18. This does include the top element there. Okay, that's helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, and oganesson. Okay, which is that big element we were talking about before. Okay, so what I need you guys to be able to do is navigate the periodic table. All right, and that is all that we're going to be practicing today. If I go to Canvas, inside my Canvas course at the very bottom, you will find your assignment for today. It's going to ask you to make a copy of the assignment, okay? When you open it up, you're going to see this document right here, and what we have is just some empty spaces in this table. Okay, and I need you to fill this in. Now, the first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, and I do write this right here in the instructions, complete the assignment using a text of a different color. This just helps me distinguish between what was there already and what you've added. So let me change my text color to blue. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to fill in the missing information here. Okay. And each row on this table is talking about one element. All right, so let's do the first couple of these together. So this one right here, astatine, with the symbol AT. We need to figure out its atomic number, which period it's in, which group it's in, and whether or not it has a special name or not. If it does, then we'll put the special name here. Let me go ahead and open up that periodic table again. All right, let me make this a bit bigger. Okay, take a moment. Can you spot astatine, the symbol AT? Okay, might take you a little bit of time to find the different elements that you're looking for, but here it is right here. Okay, so I've worked with the periodic table a lot, so I'm good at noticing where things are. I remember where a lot of things are. If this is your first time using it, then it's not going to be as easy for you, but that's okay. If you just take some time, you can search through it and you can find everything that you need to. So the atomic number for astatine is number 85. Okay, so let me go over here and write that down. Ooh, it's making me change my text color each time. That is a bit annoying. Okay, well, I tell you what. If you can change all of your answers to a different color, that's great. If it's too annoying, then don't worry about it, okay? I'll go ahead and keep doing it for the purposes of this video here. So I'll change all of that to blue. Okay, next thing we need to do is the period number and the group number. So this is like the row number and the column number. So if I take a look here at astatine, it is in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth row. Okay, you guys see how that works? Start up here with hydrogen. This would be row number 1, row number 2, row number 3, row number 4, row number 5, and then row number 6 is where we can find astatine. So row number 6, or period 6, and then I need to do the same thing for the columns. Okay, so column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so it's in period 6, group 17. And then lastly, does it have any special names? Well, for this, I should actually go back and look at the slide, right? So where was astatine? It's down here, right? So astatine does appear as if it is in one of those special categories. It's in the green, which is the halogens. So I'm just going to say that astatine is a halogen, okay? Now, if you were working with an element that was in, like, say, this area, right, where it doesn't have a special name, right, there's no color coding there, then you could just leave that blank, okay? Or you could write something like this, Na, right, not applicable. Okay, let's do one more, and then I'll let you guys get to work on this, and I'll stick around to answer any questions. Okay, so let's do this. This is a new element. It's a new row, so it's a new element, and the only information that we have is the period number and the group number. So we know which row it is, we know what column it is, but we don't know anything else. Basically what this means is we know its address, okay? We know where it lives on the periodic table. We just don't know which element it is yet, so we have to go visit it, okay? Period 7, group 7. Now, one other thing that I do want to mention, if you do have the hard copy of the periodic table at home, it might be a good idea for you to go through and actually write down the numbers of the rows and columns, okay? So actually physically write on your piece of paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? And then 1 all the way through 18 across the top here. That's going to make your life a lot easier in the long run, okay? For the time being, however, let's just try to find the element in the 7th row and the 7th column. So 7th row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? And then the 7th column would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if I find the intersection there, we're looking at this guy, okay, which is element number 107. So that would be the atomic number. And the name of this one is bohrium with symbol BH, okay? So let me go ahead and fill that information in. Please write all of your element names like this, okay? So the name of the element and then the symbol in parentheses and the atomic number next to it there. Oh, this one's 107, not 108. Okay, and then the special name. I believe this element is right here in this big yellow section. These are called the transition metals. So there we go. So I just need you guys to fill out the remainder of this table here, and then down here with a little asterisk, choose any 3 of your own. You can pick any 3 elements that are on the periodic table that you haven't worked on yet, and fill out the information for those, okay? And that's it for today. Okay, and like I said, I'll be sticking around afterwards to help you guys and answer any questions you might have. Thanks a lot.